What's up, chat? I'm so tired right now that I thought of just not streaming today. But I thought that was being too much of an autistic pussy even for me. You don't understand. I had to be around another human being for, I don't know, like a total of 8 to 10 hours over the weekend, dude. This is a deeply traumatic experience for me. It actually does, like, actually wipe me out. Just having my father visit me. And just having to, like, talk to him and shit. For people who are like, but don't you live with your mother? Like, me and my mother, we don't actually talk more than, like, 20 minutes per day. Which makes life significantly easier. This is why, like, when there's demotivation posts on 4chan being like, you're supposed to have, like, a wife and kids, don't you feel bad about, you know, like, letting your bloodline die and shit like that. It's like, bro, my bloodline is fucking cursed. If my mother wanted someone that didn't have the fucking autism gene on full force, they should have had more than, like, 5 kids. And she shouldn't have had kids when she was like 40 because I don't know about the oh, I forgot. According to RFK, she shouldn't have taken like 5,000 pieces of Tylenol in the womb. And also given me the 5G chip. I was a Tylenol baby too, Sag. Parents would do anything but, like, admit that maybe they have, like, fucking autism genes in their behavior. I see a ton of behavior in my mother that I think is, like, half autism, and I see a ton of behavior in my father which I feel is, like, half autism, and I feel like you have, like, the two autisms going on, and then, like, how you can have, like, type AO blood type and then like BO blood type and then you can get an OO blood type baby out of it. Like, I feel like that's what was going on with my autism. In a way, every drawing you make is one of your children. You're a father to thousands. Good. I should draw some cute anime girls and then draw them being abused so I can be an abusive parent. Makes you full autist while your sibling is completely normal. To be fair, like, the true 100% gigapower full autists can't even, like, type in this stream. Like, actual full power autism is more powerful than, like, you know, whatever kid in the special eds class. Like, full power autism people, like, they literally can't even speak and, like, do any kind of communication with other people, so... We're like the Yamchas of autism. But out there's like the Brolys of autism, and we can't even compete with them. Alright, what should I draw? I have all these requests, but I don't want to draw something that I have to make it actually, like, kind of look good. I'm just, like, too fucking tired for that shit. Also, I've been grinding besides my father's visit. I've been grinding, like, really fucking hard right now. We're gonna look back at this period where we have, like, RFK telling women that they can't take Tylenol and be like, wow, Grandpa, were the people of 2025 really that retarded? And you're gonna be like, that's right, Jimmy, they were. Everybody was fucking retarded back then. People were literally killing themselves because they thought ChatGPT was giving them good advice. It's gonna sound like, you know, when I was growing up, you would read stories of, like, I don't know, 1910 and stuff like that. And how, like, people hadn't figured out that having industrial settings with exposed machinery where that would tear people's workers' arms off was like a bad idea. And they were just like, wow, were people retarded back then? It's like, that's right. Yes, they were. You don't have it in you to draw abused Toho Yukuris? Let's see if I can draw a Toho Yukuri just out of memory. First, you have to draw a squashed circular object. You can draw two squashed circular objects, right? And then it's like... I forgot how their eyes work. They have a pretty specific eye shape. Like this. And then you just draw like some kind of witch's hat. I can't remember what the Marisa hairstyle is. It's something like this, right? I literally can't remember what the Reimu hairstyle was. It's something like this. This seems about right, guys, right? Yukuri Reimu Daze. Something like this. To be fair, doctors didn't start washing their hands before surgery till the mid-800s. The Virgin 2020s doctor versus the Chad 1800s doctor. 1800s doctor was like, here, let me cut open this Toho to see what her innards look like. (1800s) Yukuri Marisa on the surgery table. With a guy without washed hands. No anesthesia. I'm afraid to inform you the operation was a success, but the Yukuri died. What the actual fuck is your imagination? LOL, this is why I watch. I'm sorry, but this isn't anything original. What you don't understand is that Toho Yukuri's horrible shit happening to these Toho Yukuri things is a major fucking genre among Japanese artists. I forgot, can I find the guy's name? There's a guy who has like hundreds and hundreds of these things. Like long storied works. Will it show up just by Yukuri? Yes, it does. And it's not just one guy. Here's a good example as any. You just go to eHentai and search for Yukuri, and it's like, oh, here's a nice image of all these round Toho balls relaxing. Surely nothing bad is gonna happen. And in the next fucking scene, somebody just shows up and they just start abusing the shit out of them. But even this stuff is just more of the easier shit. Some of the Toho Yukuri abuse shit is just like, they'll go through like a 30-page dramatic situation just to like give you the maximum level of emotional trauma. Here's an image of a Toho Yukuri forgotten at a pet shop that nobody cares about them, and she's hallucinating about other Toho Yukuris and having like an end of death hallucination of the happy times the Toho Yukuris were having before they had, and she's crying in joy as she goes to them. And she dies. Now, I have no idea why this is a genre, but there's just something about these round, comfy Toho themed balls that makes a certain part of the population want to draw extremely extensive artwork of them suffering. Imagine this was someone's introduction to eHentai. I mean, Yukuri abuse is in many ways a deeper, darker hole than any kind of hentai porn that you can find, so... Can you revive her if you stuff all this stuff back? I don't know. It's unclear how Yukuris work. Maybe it's like cuteness aggression, but like taken to the extreme, I guess. I don't really have cuteness aggression, so I don't understand how it works in people's minds. Cuteness aggression. Cuteness aggression is the urge to pinch, squeeze, or playfully bite something adorable even though there's no desire to cause harm. Well, I don't think that seems correct because there seems to be desire for maximum harm to be caused to the Toho things, so I don't think that's about right. My favorite Yukuri bullying was the one where Yuyuko would straight up eat them. They were full of red bean paste. I assume while they were being eaten, like, there's always like multiple ones of them, so when one is being eaten, like, the other one can make a face like... Like, it's never just like, oh, everything's okay. Like, there's always like some sort of dramatic reaction for Yukuri abuse, where they're like, oh my god, how could you murder this Toho ball? God. Drawing manga would be so much easier if I was just drawing round objects with a little bit of hair on them. Maybe that is the secret of why Yukuri abuse is so popular. You don't have to draw like actual human anatomy. Nobody stops you except the Toho fan base and me not wanting to be a part of it. Make a ball manga. So this was my first manga character that I was drawing in elementary school. He existed on a two-dimensional plane, except when he did it. And I was passing it around the class and people were like reading that shit. See, I can make him three-dimensional if I want to. He was supposed to be a block of clay, so I would properly add some coloring pencil shading to him. And then I'd be like, here, let me stretch my fucking hand out. See, when Oda created One Piece, he was copying off of me when he made Luffy. I thought of the idea of stretching your arm out first. But Oda was shamelessly stealing my ideas. And his sidekick was this. It was a cylinder. This was supposed to be a stick of glue. Japanese glue sticks have slightly different shape than American glue sticks, so this weird like top thing was the nozzle where the glue comes out of. Pretty sure the Fantastic Four is from the 60s. Nah, I invented it before Fantastic Four. Marvel needs to pay me money. It came to me in a dream from the past. Round objects with a bit of hair on them, open up DeviantArt and make inflation rule 34 lol. Should I make comic of like the balls, 4chan balls? How the fuck does the Union Jack work? Like this? Can't remember. Wow, the crayon color mixing is weird. Interesting. I didn't know that it actually, if you're using the crayon and you put red crayon on top of blue crayon, it actually gives you like this weird ass brown color. They do actually proper color mixing to make it look brown looking and shitty. Just like actual crayon. I don't actually use any of the coloring functions. We can be like, the Britain ball can be like, there can be no personal freedom. Everybody needs to sign up to stop the pedophiles on the internet. Far from the worst manga art style I've seen published in print. Let's see. Mega Tokyo Volume 1. Okay, so to properly draw a Mega Tokyo character, here's the side view. all of you who are like, I need to get better before I can start drawing my masterpiece manga, never forget that Mega Tokyo is one of the most well-known and popular American manga-esque IPs in the 2000s when I was growing up, in which you would walk into a comic book store and there would be volumes of Mega Tokyo sitting on the shelves. And this is literally what Volume 1 looks like, guys. Actually, I think I gave him more of a nose than he actually has. This is too much nose. I have to reduce the amount of nose for it to be more accurate to the original artist's vision. It's like this. There we go. Also, the ear position is wrong. I'm sorry. It needs to be farther back, like this. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Are they holding an orb? Are they contemplating an orb here? It was a different time. Yeah, it was a different time when you could be really shitty at artwork and nobody would call you out on it. I was looking through the D&D, like there was like some sort of D&D, old D&D, like version 1, first edition type artwork book on eHentai yesterday. I was just looking through some of the officially commissioned artwork they have by like actual professional artists, and I was like, you know, we're also used to looking at images of like Frank Frazetta to be like, man, artists back in the day were such giga chads, they were so much more skilled than current day artists, and it's like, no they weren't actually. Most of like the officially commissioned art for, you know, the D&D stuff was shit that would get like 5 likes on Twitter today because it looks wonky as fuck. I've never heard of it. Is this like a parody? I've read it and yet I don't understand what was going on. I would like open the books of Mega Tokyo back in the day and like flip through the pages, and it was impossible for me to understand what was going on. I have no idea how anybody could understand Mega Tokyo, both like visually or in terms of like storyline. Frazetta is the exception, not the rule. Yeah, it really is. See, somebody was helpful enough to upload like the visual history book on eHentai, so I was like flipping through that shit. And then, you know, if you actually look at the artwork, it's like... I guess this was some guy who looked at this Nick Fury artwork and was like, I will use this pose for my barbarian. But, like, they can't even draw a straight fucking line, basically. I guess that wasn't like official artwork, that was more of like a sketch being done by some of the people preparing the shit. But like some of the actually commissioned artwork later is equally like, holy shit, this was a professional artist back in the day kind of stuff. Like what's a good example? Show the big titty drow. I don't know if they had big titty drows back then. Did they have dark elves? back in the day in like first edition times, guys? I don't think they did. Like, this is a relatively good artwork if we're going by Western standards, but like the composition is still like insanely busy and shit. I know people are gonna look at this and be like, wow, I love old Western artwork. But, I don't know. I think by modern day standards, a lot of this is just fucking awful. Devil worship, LMAO. Oh, this was one where I was really like, I can't believe this was like an actual ad. The adventure is yours. And it's like a guy, their party is going up some stairs, except the person couldn't really figure out how to draw stairs, so like one stair is like super long because like composition wise it wouldn't make sense. And like there's like a warrior fighter holding a mace, except like the person I guess didn't have any reference for maces, so it looks like, I don't know, like a barbell or something. They straight up couldn't draw a wizard except more than like a white thing coming out of his cloak. There's like fucking doors? Maybe there's shuttered windows coming out of the walls. When I think of good old art, I'm not thinking of comics and D&D. People mock this shit for a reason. I mean, the best example are the like Super Nintendo boxes for Japanese video games, where like the original Japanese video game box is being drawn by like some highly respected Japanese artist that is still like beloved to this day, and then when it would be shipped to America, the artist they would hire for the box would be like somebody who can barely draw at a 10th grade level. Like the classic Mega Man covers and stuff. I remember people mocking anime too back in the day. That's because Americans didn't know better. It was Americans being like, heh, there's no way Japanese can make a car. Only Americans can make cars. Opinion, Todd McFarlane's art, too busy for my taste. I feel like everything in the 90s was just like, okay, we're gonna have our figure here, we're gonna have like super giga muscular guy, right, with like shit ton of veins, and he's gonna have like awesome, cool, strong, hyper face like this. This is like, you know, Venom or any kind of like the Todd McFarlane creations and Spawn and shit like that is like this, right? But they can't just have that. Then they have to be like, but what if we had like a million like shit like webs or the guy's like cape and stuff coming out like this? So there's just not much space for your eye to rest, I feel, in Todd McFarlane's art, especially at the time. And I guess if you were like an edgy as fuck 2000s kid, like you would look at this, and it wasn't like this big, it would just be like, this would like take up the entire fucking page, right? It would be like, bam. And then you would then have like all the fucking lettering too. So it'd be like, death of Spider Man. And then Peter would be like, oh no! I'm gonna die. Demon Slayer movie outperformed Hollywood movies this year. Demon Slayer movie has giant titty watermelon colored female. I can't actually draw her. It's like this, right? That's horrifying. Let's get rid of those pupils. That's creepy. But then it's like, I will draw the kimono however. Our technology allows us to have the boobs sticking out. She's the one with the weird sword, right? I haven't actually read much Demon Slayer. I only consume Demon Slayer through porn, as usual. I don't find the Demon Slayer characters to be particularly fappable, but there's so much porn of them, I feel an obligation to at least jack off to them every once in a while. Thought you were drawing Bleach. Easy mistake to make. I can also draw here. Here's the Bleach version of only ever anyone cares about me is because my boobs are a big character. Weren't you drawing QB? I haven't finished QB. I'm working on like 3 images at a time. Part of the reason why I'm exhausted, besides the autism, is because for 2 hours before the stream started, I was trying to figure out if the various mechanical parts in this fucking motorcycle were properly in perspective. And I was like, okay, this is enough work on this shit. Why am I working so hard? I'm doing the thing that I've avoided for so long, which is actually like forcing myself to draw objects and people in 3-dimensional space and make sure that 3-dimensional space is relatively correct, because I have to draw manga and you have to do that in manga. Is Bleach worth watching? No. If you're asking any question about a shonen manga, weekly shonen battle manga based anime, and you're asking, should I watch it as an anime? The answer is always no. You should not watch that shonen manga as an anime. You should read the manga if you're interested, and then you can finish that manga in 1 day. Instead of 5 weeks as you trudge through 7,000 episodes of filler. One of my patrons is asking me to draw Lena inverse, but I'm physically impossible of drawing Lena without also drawing Naga boobs. So they're essentially forcing me to draw 2 characters. It's not fair. Lena inverse from Dota too. If I wanted to troll them, I could draw Lena from Dota, but if they were just gonna straight up name one of the characters Lena inverse, they should have made her look more like Lena. She looks like this, right? There's too many costumes for Dota characters. Remember when Naga was considered an anime titty monster? She seems quaint nowadays. I think you've forgotten what Naga looks like, my friend. Naga is still as offensive to sexual prudes as she was 40 years ago. I can't remember when the anime and stuff first came out. There's a lot of anime titty monsters. But what's important to remember about Naga is, besides the titty monsters, that she's wearing this on the bottom. It's not just the boob size. It's the choice of outfit. What titty shape is the best? Oppressively large, yet not too large to get in the way of the female figure. See, this is something you'll kind of learn when you're doing gesture drawing, but it's something I've thought for a long time, but there's like a motion of lines, especially to female figure, as it goes down. It's like out curve, in curve, out curve, in curve, and so on. Like this. So when you're going to do that, you don't want the boobs to be like this, right? You don't want Asanagi boobs to break your flow. Because a lot of the flow is created through the hips and then like the rib cage. Time gestures that the female usually leads downward. Yeah, men can, if they don't have that much downward flow, male bodies, because if the male bodies are like, they're taking like a really masculine pose, like it often can become like super blocky like this and just be like a very sort of straight center of gravity. If you're having like a male pose, it can be very stable. But the hourglass shape of the wider hips and then like the more narrow shoulders and stuff tends to give you like this natural curve in the female body, which kind of leads downward, and that is often what we consider to be like beautiful, and what a lot of classic artists would consider to be beautiful when they would like make their marble statues and shit like that. So you need to take that into consideration when you draw your Asanagi anime body type, and you're like, huh, she's gonna be 4 feet tall and her boobs are gonna be this big, And her thighs are gonna be this big. When the boobs are this big, it breaks the flow. Because the flow is created from the rib cage to the hips. So you have this massive fat, sacks of fat getting in the way. It messes everything up. Look at this great Marvel comic book cover. Average American male above the age of 20 weighs 200 pounds, LMAO. Average American male body type is like... Oh wait, he's standing up. I shouldn't draw them standing up. Here we go. Let's go, boys. America! Let's fucking go! Driving through Walmart. Fuck yeah. Male or female. Once you get this fat, males and females have the same body type, so... Fertility god right here, boys. Oh shit. I'm googling image search of Naga and they're selling me fucking Naga Nendoroido. Look at this plap hog right here. Now that's a Nendoroido that I wouldn't mind owning right there. I like how they still gave her the chibi body, but they couldn't resist giving her like considerable tits even for the body shape. What are your thoughts on Power Stone? Power Stone had some of the hottest Capcom girls, but just like Smash, it was not a fighting game but a party game, and as a result, it has been forgotten. Capcom has more unrevived, forgotten IPs that would be actually good than most companies have, like IPs in general. If Capcom would just go through their catalog and just start remaking just like a bunch of the games that only got one video game, they could make so much money if they just kept the budgets down low. But unfortunately Capcom management is being retarded as usual, so... Is there any Lena inverse swimsuit pics? There's a few, I guess, because it was wall scroll time. The biggest betrayal of Lena inverse is that she has boobs. I can never forgive her for that, despite being the flat character. She has some amount of boobs, which is unforgivable. I'd rather draw her in her standard getup, because I want to draw the pauldrons. There will never be any new Darkstalkers, guys. Give it up. Also, I don't think they can animate the level of animation that they had on the sprites anymore. That shit is like lost technology. Considering slapstick comedy, Squash and Stretch is dead, Darkstalkers wouldn't look good today. I mean, if they would just get the animators to produce it in its original form, then yeah, it would look good. It's not that people don't want Squash and Stretch animation. People do want it. It's just that there was like a brief period in which companies realized that well, there was like the period in which like Toy Story and shit was new and everybody loved it. And they were like, oh, this is the future, and also it's probably cheaper. And now the problem is that because the animators didn't train anybody to do it after them, then nobody can do it now. So it's just like straight up lost technology. I feel like nobody trained people in all types of media because everything sucks now. Well, there's multiple forces at work. One, the companies didn't feel like preparing for the future, i.e. training people. And anybody who's worked at a company knows this is not just something related to shit like media. It's consistent along all fields. They give like a senior employee 2 weeks to change their replacement, and then they fire the senior employee because they want to cut costs. And of course the senior employee knows they're getting fired, so they're not going to like spend much time training their replacement. Two, there was like an influx of new technologies that made shit easier, but it also resulted in like people not having to learn some of the more fundamental principles and shit that they would have been taught previously. Squash and Stretch animation being one of them, with like the introduction of CG. Similarly in like video games, like nobody knows how to compress files anymore because they don't have to, which is why your Call of Duty video game file is like literally 200 gigs or some shit like that. It's like, why should we have to compress it when we don't actually have to fit it on a disc anymore? And then there's also DEI, of course, which was not helpful. If you're like, hey, we can just half of our workforce can be people that we're hiring because BlackRock gives us funding for making society a better place by giving a job to somebody instead of hiring based on, you know, getting the best popular talent, then you're probably going to be worse off overall as well. So It's like a combination of factors. As long as customers keep on buying shit, then companies will keep on making their products worse until they're punished. And then when it gets to the point where customers aren't buying shit, it means shit has gotten really, really bad. And they've already fired most of the workers that could produce good stuff, so it's too late, right? I just can't help think of how old Disney 2D animation style died out. I think they still have some 2D animators, and then they like produce shorts that they show before the main movie in the theaters. But I haven't gone to a Disney movie in the theaters for a long time now, so obviously I don't know how they're doing right now. But I assume that Moana 2 had a short before it, maybe? I don't know. Moana 2 short movie before film. What was the short before Moana? Inner Workings. No, that is no, that's the old one, not 2. So I don't think Moana 2 had no short film. No pre-feature short film. So I guess they don't have anybody anymore. The new Elder Scrolls will blow ass. I just stopped caring. There is a possibility that new Elder Scrolls won't be bad. I know this seems impossible right now. Despite how Starfield was, there is a non-zero possibility that Elder Scrolls 6 will be decent, maybe. What's Elder Scrolls? Don't be silly. I'm sure even the Fortnite kiddies know about Skyrim 3 coming out in 2030. Not being bad and being good are different things. I feel like I literally can't remember the title of the video game I was about to say. Not a good sign. Starfield. I feel like Starfield wasn't a bad game. It was a boring game, which is worse than a bad game. And I think there's a high chance that Elder Scrolls 6 will be that as well. Starfield was both a boring and a bad game? No, how could you say that? Starfield was the first game in which I was watching like streamers that I find entertaining, and I was just like, wow, I usually enjoy watching this person stream, but not even this streamer I like is capable of making this video game interesting. The boringness of this video game is so boring that it's just like consuming everything around it. Like a black hole. Any kind of joy or entertainment around this video game is just being sucked up into nothingness. That's how I feel about Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter is fucking boring. You just don't want to fight the same monster 16 times so you can build a new set of armor. I'll judge Monster Hunter Wilds based on whatever G-rank game they release as the expansion, which is always like the main game for Monster Hunter. The primary problem of Monster Hunter Wilds is it's too fucking easy, which is always the complaint. So that is stuff that can be fixed later. For me, the joy of Monster Hunter is having it be like manual controls of hitting objects. In other words, if I like video games where if I don't actually properly time my actions, I can whiff, i.e. no auto-aim. So I'm actually forced to think of like spacing and where I'm standing and stuff like that. And Monster Hunter is probably one of the best version of that. There's actually not many games like that if you think about it. Wilds needed more time for sure. Yeah. I feel like Capcom has some of the best like designers and especially art departments. But they also have pretty good video game designers, but they have pretty retarded management that is constantly forcing people to release shit at arbitrary like financial based timings. But that's basically every company. It's just that the other companies don't have like the talent backbone to save their ass. Like Square Enix has both the management that makes stupid financial decisions, but they also lack the talent as well, for example. At this point, Square Enix couldn't design a game to, you know, save themselves out of a wet paper bag. I haven't played the Final Fantasy VII Remake Rebirth, which I know a lot of people liked. But just having them be like, guys, aren't you excited for our remake video game? That alone is like, bro. If the best you can do is trying to get me excited based on nostalgia, you can fuck off. You've been like, I mean, this isn't the first time they've remade Final Fantasy VII. The story of Final Fantasy VII was basically done with the video game, and then they had to make 30 different fucking spin-offs of it. It's not like the first, like, let's milk Final Fantasy VII for the first time. They've been milking it my entire fucking life. The Final Fantasy VII remakes are the best example of someone completely missing the point of their own game. Here's the thing though, it's not their own game. All the people that actually made Final Fantasy VII are no longer working in the company. This is basically the problem for every corporation right now, is that corporation that made Thing A no longer has any of the people that made Thing A, and ultimately everything is just made by people. So when the people are gone, you're just making fan fiction. If anything, it might be worse than fan fiction, because a lot of people who are making a remake of Thing A don't even like Thing A in the first place. They're just like, you know, hires that are getting a paycheck. At least in the case of fan fiction, people are often, they actually are passionate about that thing usually. But if you're employed by that company, then you still get paid either way, right? So... Square's tried new things. No one buys new IPs though. No, it's not the IPs. Wrong. If it was an IP problem, then we wouldn't have half of 4chan posting about how much they want to have sex with the robot child. Why Final Fantasy Remake Scarlet such a baddie though? Not interested in the fake boobs. Wake me up when Yuffie unbuttons her shorts. Then I'll consider your video game. Also, I don't find Cloud that interesting, honestly. I was never a Final Fantasy VII guy. I was always a Final Fantasy 8, 9, and Xenogears guy. In my opinion, Final Fantasy VII is sort of them getting ready to get into their golden age of games, but it's not part of the Square golden age of games period. It's not actually there yet. What a weird hairstyle she has. Look at this. Final Fantasy 4, 6, and 7 are incredible. I didn't have a Super Nintendo, so I didn't get to play them. As a result, I don't like anything in terms of graphic-wise before the PS1. Cloud is boring as fuck. No shit, you don't care. I thought he could have been... I think he can be made a more interesting character. He just isn't made into a more interesting character, is how I think about it. Like, I think the setup is really interesting. The idea of Cloud just being like a standard random... Okay, I don't want to use the term soldier. What a dumb Japan English shit they have. You can't say soldier because soldier means something else. He's a faceless grunt, and he makes a promise to his childhood friend hot girl that no matter what happens, if something bad is happening to her, he'll show up and save her. And he actually does show up and save her, but he fails to be a soldier, and he's lying about it. And he was actually not good at his job at all, and he was a fucking fuck up, and he was a loser. So the core setup of the story is actually like pretty good. The problem is that it is in a really bad relationship with what you actually do in the video game, because by the time you even get to the reveal of the Nibelheim shit, where, spoilers again, that Cloud, guys, Aerith dies, I'm sorry, did I spoil something for you? Yeah, spoilers, Cloud isn't actually a soldier. Like, you're already like murdering dragons and shit by that point, right? So you can just be like, okay, so in story, narrative, power levels, and the whole like Cloud's narrative, they don't have to sync up. You can say that, but then if you're gonna say that, then like the whole reveal, it doesn't have like any real impact, because it's just like, oh, sorry guys, I left school and I said I made it to the NBA and I fucking failed. I didn't make it there. I'm just a worthless basketball player who has 70-inch vertical, 7-foot tall player who can, shoot 100% of threes from half court. I'm worthless. And it's just like, bro, why don't you go back to the NBA? It's like, no, I'm just a fucking fraud. And it's just like, huh. Something about this narrative, there's some sort of dissonance here. You said this in your Final Fantasy Remake stream way back, then some of the story pivot points annoyed you. I feel like they have good material and they don't execute on it perfectly. There's also too many characters, I think. I feel like Final Fantasy VIII actually has the exact right amount of characters in your party, which is 6. If you have, how many total do you have for your party in 7? Is it 8? And 2 of them are optional? See, that's too many. Also, you should never have optional characters. This is another hot take in an RPG, because that means like people might miss out on a huge part of the story if some of the characters are optional. Final Fantasy VIII barely has characters? Wrong. Final Fantasy VIII has great characters. You just weren't sophisticated enough to understand the story. Especially if you replay it, you see what the fuck's going on. For example, Irvine in Final Fantasy VIII, he shows up as this like hotshot playboy sniper character, and then like halfway through the first disc of Final Fantasy VIII, he starts chickening out, and he's like, I can't do it anymore. And like on your first playthrough, you're like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Why is this guy pussying out? I fucking hate this guy. And then when you play it the second time, for example, you realize, no, he's not chickening out because he's weak under stress, which is what he's telling you. He's chickening out because he actually remembers. He still has the, he doesn't have the level of memory loss that the other characters have. So he knows that he's about to shoot Idia, who is the woman who raised them as children. So he's having like moral issues, and he can't do it for that reason. There's all this kind of like complex writing going on in Final Fantasy VIII that people don't really notice because they don't actually give the game enough time. I played Final Fantasy VIII twice, and all I remember is Squall being a brooding idiot and Kistis having tits. I mean, you're not wrong. Kistis does have tits. But people love Final Fantasy VII, and Cloud is a brooding idiot. They're very similar characters, Cloud and Squall. Anyways, 9 is the best of the Final Fantasies by far. So, you can't change my opinion on that. 9 is objectively the best Final Fantasy. Best music, best characters, best story, best environments, best battle system, best ass, best tits, best furry rat dragoon. Ten has the best battle system, but everything else about it sucks. I don't like the world building of 10 as much as I do about like 9. I don't like being in a tropical environment for like 90% of the game. Obviously it has like snowy mountains and stuff like that, and like deserts and shit. But I don't like the art design, and art design is a huge part for me. The scene in which Garnet cuts her hair and you get short-haired waifu after instead of long-haired waifu still gives me fucking chills to this day. It's especially good because you get like a solid like 10-hour period before that in which during battle you ask Garnet to do something and then she'll be like, I don't know what to do. And she'll like refuse to comply and shit, and you're like, what the fuck is wrong with you, bitch? And then you have the moment in which she cuts her hair and she's like, I'm over it. And it's like, oh shit, we're actually having like actual character development. She's overcoming the death of her mother. It isn't just the meme of cut your hair equals character development. She is actually getting character development. Holy shit. What is Yuna's character? She's pure naive. I don't get it. She's supposed to be your perfect trad wife, Japanese waifu. You don't get it because you've been ruined by stanky Western hoes. I don't particularly care for Yuna one way or the other, but when Seymour was about to marry her, and it was like, nah, we ain't letting that happen, and we crashed the wedding, I was like, let's fucking go. Crashing weddings is one of like, should be in like the top 10 story devices that, you know, gets you like, fucking, let's fucking go. You are not allowed to marry him. You're my woman. Unfortunately, in real life, when you like show up to your ex-girlfriend's wedding and start being like, I'm abducting you, she's not like, yay. She's like, God damn it. I thought I was fucking done with you. Someone call the cops. It's like, no, babe, we can redo it. Tita has an option between exotic Yaru versus goth widow, and he chose Yuna. Is he stupid? Unfortunately, he doesn't actually have that option because that's just a false RPG choice situation. In reality, there's only one choice. Apparently in Final Fantasy VIII they were planning to make it so that you could choose between the girls. But ultimately Final Fantasy never had any kind of romance options. Probably for the better. Nobody would have chosen Rinoa, for one thing. Yuna has pop star energy though. Her boyfriend had to die for her to get it though. Typical female moment when she's just like, I've now become a stronger woman because my boyfriend is dead. Also, Final Fantasy X feels a little too linear, I would say. Kind of goes against the whole RPG thing, but I feel like stories that are about a quest and you have like a very specific direction where you're supposed to be going for the quest often end up being a little too linear. It's one of the main reasons why I have difficulty enjoying JoJo Part 3, and I keep on trying to watch JoJo Part 3 in anime and I keep on like failing because it's just like an ongoing quest. And it always starts to like bore me, and I'm not sure why. But there's something about like having a very specific location you're trying to get to that it starts to get really old for me very quickly. I'm not sure why that happens. And obviously a lot of people like those stories, so it's probably more of a me thing. But I feel this way about JoJo Part 3. I feel this way about Lord of the Rings as well, I think. And if we're just like analyzing the concept rationally in my head, there isn't any reason why I should feel that way, but I do. Part 3 is very episodic. Well, it does have the sort of Monster of the Week issue going on as well. I finished reading Lord of the Ring yesterday, and the extended films are better. The one wiki to rule them all. Tom Bombadil, here's the Elvish version in Tengwar. Old Tom Bombadil is a merry fellow. Bright blue his jacket is and his boots are yellow. Tom Bombadil. Tom Bombadil was a mysterious entity that lived for much of the history of the world, being known in the Third Age to dwell in the valley of Withilwindle in the depths of the old forest east of Buckland and close to the dangerous Barrow Downs. His domain was of modest size, but he seemed to possess an unacquitted power over the land around his dwelling. He lived in a small house with his wife, Goldberry, between the Barrow Downs and the dingle of the old forest, far from any other settlement. Although seemingly benevolent, he took no open stance against the Dark Lords. This is at the point when I was reading the book where I was like, okay, this is, shit is too disjointed, I'm out. Tom Bombadil is literally the creator god. Spoilers. Guess what? It's shitty narrative to be going on a fucking quest, and as you're leaving your local state, you come by some sort of like ancient creator god who isn't gonna help you and stuff like that. It's just bad fucking writing. Tolkien might have been a genius in like crafting mythical languages and lore and stuff like that. But he fucking sucked when it came to producing just like page-turning content to keep you engaged. Bombadil is fun, you missed out. No, I didn't miss out. I read the Tom Bombadil chapter and I was like, now I'm done. So I did not miss out. I got enough Tom Bombadil that I need. That shit was badass. Tom Bombadil is like the version of when people who watch the Lord of the Ring movies who are like, why didn't they use the Eagles to go to Mount Doom in the first place? But if you read the books, there's like way more bigger shit that like annoys you than just the Eagles, you know? Bombadil is gonna snap you out of existence, except he's not, because he's like super hyper powerful, more powerful than Sauron, except he ain't gonna do shit because he's just gonna sit in his fucking, you know, tree house or whatever. Weren't eagles explained? It doesn't matter if they were explained after the fact. if the viewers watch your movie and are like, wait, why didn't they do that? Then you've basically already produced a serious issue. The whole point of being a creator is so that people can enjoy your story without being like, wait, why didn't they do that? Sauron has an air force. The air force is explicit. If he has an air force, where is it? We only see it for 5 seconds. If Sauron is so powerful, why does he always behave like a pathetic little bitch all the time? How about that? Lord of the Rings movies are basically, and don't even get me started about the books, Lord of the Rings movies are, for me, like the perfect example of why Japanese shonen manga and shit has overtaken everything that the West can produce. Because it's all like, no, you don't understand, no, Sauron is so powerful, oh, blah, 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 and then you never actually see it in a convincing way. If something is supposed to be powerful and important, you have to show it, and you have to make your readers or viewers okay with the idea. It's a show, not tell world, but the vast majority of Tolkien media is just tell, because Tolkien is a lore man. This is so retarded, Ball. Are you dead ass? I don't even know who fucking Theoden is. I can't tell you. Okay, name the one moment in which they're like, oh my god, Sauron is so powerful. There's no way we can beat him. Not just like random orcs cutting down trees and shit like that. Why do you think the entire South American population thinks Goku is the strongest character ever? It's because you go through the fucking Freezer saga and Goku is defeating guys, and then Freezer is like, my total power level is 530,000 or something, shit like that. And they're like, oh shit, there's no way we can ever defeat Freezer. And then you actually have the moment in which Goku is like, no, I'm so angry, I'm gonna go Super Saiyan, ah! And then you actually defeat Freezer. There's actual, like, conflict between the main character and the big bad in a way that, you know, remains in people's memories. Media made before 1950 is simply not good. It depends on the media. Like, if you want, for example, detective noir and stuff, that shit is still good. There's a lot of, that's like the type of shit you should ask my father, because he always is consuming, like, old-ass media. He has a tendency to find some really good old-ass media stuff. But, yeah, there's stuff that was good, especially, like, books before 1950 that is good. But it depends on the genre. Detective noir is ass. Tolkien literally gave us elf girls. I'm gonna have to give you guys, tell you the truth. I know all you Tolkien hens don't want to deny this, but elves existed before Tolkien. Tolkien did not invent the concept of elves or dwarves for that matter. Yeah, I know. It's hard. It's hard to think about the truth, isn't it? Yeah. He actually didn't make up the entire Western fantasy canon like we all want to believe. Yeah, that shit actually existed before him. Oh my god, who would have thought? Yeah, English people were going out into the woods and getting high on mushrooms and jacking off regarding wood nymphs and spirits and shit before Tolkien wrote that stuff down. I also pre-Tolkien elves were ugly as fuck, but even if they weren't elves, the concept of like having sex with some weird like tree spirit shit was a completely normal part of English, literature way before Tolkien, made elves what we consider to be like the elf reference today. It's like, oh look, it's a bog hag. Let's go have sex with the bog hag, guys. He did create the modern version of them, though. Wrong, because the modern version of elves is giant big titty anime elves that live in Tokyo and play video games and don't leave their house. I was gonna say giant big titty anime elves that are getting raped by orcs, but that's not even the case anymore because we're past that phase. Now it's just giant big titty anime elves that live in your house and don't work and drink cola all day. That's the modern version of elves. We've moved past Tolkien. All I know about Tolkien is that someone gave him valid criticism and he told them to shut up. Hey, as a writer, everybody has the right to give us valid criticism over our work. That's what it means to be a consumer of our work. And it's our right as creators to tell you to shut the fuck up. That's our right as the writer. That being said, Tolkien is the one who's truly suffering because his unworthy estate fucking sold the rights to his creations to fucking Amazon Prime of all things. He's not alive to see the bastardization of all of his lore, but whatever the fuck is happening with the Amazon Prime IP of this shit is 100 times worse than any mean things we could say to him. If only there was some way for us to use technology to send the Rings of Power episodes to the afterlife and beam them directly into Tolkien's brain just to fucking torture him. Ed Greenwood said drow breast milk is mushroomy, umami taste. We're gonna have to impregnate our drow stepsister to find out, I guess. Rings of Power was a travesty. I like how you're using past tense as if they're not gonna have to make like season 3 to try and justify the billions and billions of dollars that they fucking wasted on buying the rights to the IP. I don't care how low the viewership in season 2 was. They're probably gonna try and make a season 3. It's gonna keep on going, which is hilarious. It's not in my periphery anymore, so it doesn't exist. Are you sure it doesn't exist?
War has come to Middle-earth.
Dramatic scene. I will give you this. The CG looks insanely good, doesn't it? Like, it really is movie quality CG. The amount of money they fucking poured into this shit thing for a TV show that's so bad I couldn't watch more than like 4 episodes even though I knew it was bad.
Ability to sculpt their very thoughts.
You are wise to fear these rings. In Sauron's hands, they could work an evil beyond reckoning.
Who's Sauron, guys? Who's Sauron? Where's Sauron?
It would be a mortal blow for all Middle-earth.
Sooner or later, Sauron's eye bores a hole. The rest of him slithers in.
You sought peace. I gave it to you. This is hardly a gift. What have you done to me? What have you done to me? Who are you? Truly, I am the one keeping the storm at bay.
Who is he, guys? Is he Sauron? Who's Sauron? Oh,
Sauron is my enemy.
God, this is a long-ass trailer.
I can help.
It's a bad sign when I can't even watch the trailer to the end
I will not stop until
without being like, well, that's enough. Also having ugly elves, LMAO. Are we gonna have to talk about the black elf, guys? You know, not the dark elf, but the African-American elf. Do we have to talk about it? LMAO. It basically is, if there's ever a warning sign, it's when they're like, look at this, like, hyper blonde, I don't know, Nordic coded. I don't fucking know what elves are at this point. Fuck Black's Bronx elf, that's standard bullshit. Yeah, but it's like in the first fucking episode. I don't know why they did that. The answer is because BlackRock was giving money probably to them for having some level of like diversity representation in their shows, and they were probably getting some kind of like financial kickback, like interest rates, better interest rates or something is probably the answer. I will say that he did have a relatively exotic looking face, so it could have been worse. Honestly, the show was kind of boring by the time that I would have quit the show whether there was a black elf or not, so it didn't really make any difference in the long run, I guess. There isn't like a version in which there is no black elf in Rings of Power and I continue watching the show, right? Slayers today, how can you tell? There's no way you could tell who these people are right here. It could be anyone. If you're gonna have varied ethnicities like that, you're gonna have to explain it via geography. If you want to have a fantasy world with multi-ethnic people, you just set it in like a fucking massive empire and then set it in the capital of the empire and be like, this black tribe is from like the eastern part of the empire or some shit like that. What you don't do is you buy a pre-existing IP that is extremely detailed and has a shit ton of like its own languages and stuff and be like, no guys, it's fine. Tolkien definitely had African American ethnic elves when he was envisioning this fantasy world. Trust us. It doesn't go very well. The ugly elves were just a dead giveaway too. Nobody complains about the black dwarf though. People are just like, seems about right. We'll let the black dwarf slide. The expectations for dwarf beauty aren't as high as those of the elves. Anti-dwarf sentiment runs strong among the humans. Opinions on Silent Hill F. Never liked Silent Hill, never liked Higurashi, never liked survival horror when I can't play as Leon Kennedy and shoot people in the head. Don't like video games that only are 10 hours long unless they're Resident Evil 4, although that's like 40 hours long. So I was never going to buy it in the first place. I was not a Silent Hill consumer. They never lost a customer. Don't really care. I've only played one Silent Hill game, and that was Silent Hill 4. And I was interested in Silent Hill 4 because it's about being trapped in your room. And as someone who is basically a hikikomori nito who likes hiding in his room all the time, that's highly relevant to me. So I said I'm going to try and play out Silent Hill 4. And I rented it over a weekend and beat it in like, one weekend. So I'm definitely not going to pay like $70 for a Silent Hill game. Also remembered RE4 being 40 hours, but it's actually like 12. No, it's like 40 hours. It's definitely more than like 12. It's pretty long. Unless you're like speedrunning that shit. It's a 30-hour game. Maybe if it's only because I'm like being too fucking anal about exploring the entire map and finding every single hidden treasure and shit like that, but Resident Evil 4 is pretty long. I replayed it last month. You're running through it too quickly. You have to take the time and like kill every single Spanish villager with a knife to maximize your pistol ammo and shit like that, like I am. Silent Hill is a franchise that popularized all in the head trope. Guys, I have an amazing idea for a story. What if like crazy shit is happening and everyone's like, oh wow, how could this actually be happening? But it turns out that it's all in my head, guys. It was all a dream to begin with. Who will ever see that one coming? Silent Hill is never all in the head shit. Everything you see is real. It's all in the head in that you go to Silent Hill and then all the shit in your head becomes real. But it's still all in your head. Except it's also out of your head. Booby envy Lena classic. I don't know if she's having booby envy, but the boobs are in her peripheral vision. I cannot draw a Lena inverse without also drawing Naga boobs. Impregnation envy is better than boob envy. Impregnation envy can be like actually sad though. If you have like a woman that like you actually have impregnation envy in the real world where like women go crazy because they can't have like a child and they start getting extremely weird and shit like that. Whereas Boob Envy is just silly anime stuff. Isn't Yukishi 7 the guy who quit making visual novels because he's waiting for Wars IRL to stop? I don't know why he quit making visual novels, but I mean, Higurashi is also in the It's All in Your Head camp as well, so... Visual novel is peak art medium. Nothing can't convince me otherwise. Guys, what if instead of just writing a book, we fucking had pictures? And you read the pictures on your PC screen. Dun 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 dun. Dun dun dun. I cry every time. When my precious Nipa girlfriend gets murdered with a machete. So deep. Euphoria is the only good visual novel. Euphoria is pretty good, but it should have had more scenes of women being crushed to death by walls and stuff. It needs to go a little more hardcore. Not enough Yona and Gudo for me, I'm sorry. Which do you prefer, Higurashi or Umineko? I've consumed neither. I only know about Higurashi because it was forced onto me by Nico Nico. I know nothing about Umineko besides the main character crying as a meme. Naga is peak unrealistic body standards for women, by the way. Women, if you don't have a stick-thin, rocking hot body with giant, extremely aggressive, pointy tits, don't even talk to me. Also, you need to be able to use magic. Are you going to participate in Orktober? No. I don't participate in anything. I have my own schedule and nobody is allowed to make me do something different. Also, just based on all of her artwork, there's no way that you wouldn't be able to see Naga's nipples. Just anatomically. Her nipples would be like right around here. You would be able to see like 80% of her nipples right now. You wouldn't just be able to see the areola, you'd be just straight up, the nipple would be like right here, and you'd be able to see just like 80%. This bra would only hide the absolute bottom chunk of the areola. You would be able to see her nipple 100%. It's a lie. Maybe she has saggy tits. Her tits are the opposite of saggy. They're bouncy anti-gravity tits. With no nip, low nips, that's not how it works. It's like Rangiku's kimono. Yeah. It's like the vertical version of Rangiku's horizontal, non-nip presenting kimono. It's a lie, I tell you. A fucking lie. Everything we've been told is a lie. Also, Nami's jeans are too low. You'd be able to see her ass crack. She has anti-gravity jeans where somehow you don't see her ass crack even if you look at her from behind, but you would 100% be able to see her ass if you looked at her from behind. Maybe those are effed up fake tits. This is fantasy, guys. Don't destroy the dream. Dreams never die. You have to believe in the possibility of perfect pointy boobs. I'm trying to figure out how three-dimensional I want to make the boobs, honestly. Theoretically, they should be, like, sticking upward, I feel. In terms of Naga boob shape. Nata wa ima. The One Piece is real! Also, one-piece swimsuits superior to two-piece swimsuits. I believe this is the truth. High-cut one-piece competitive racing swimsuit. Better than, like, two-piece thong. For the same reason why I was talking about, like, gesture drawing in the female form. It accentuates the female form. I just like drawing women getting brutally mogged. They could have found the One Piece at Macy's the entire time. The real One Piece was Nami's boobs. It always was. Watch Oda just have the One Piece be addressed. Hope he doesn't croak before he finishes the damn thing, though. Apparently, this week's One Piece is not in the magazine, and it was unscheduled. It wasn't a scheduled week off for him, which and they didn't say the reason. So people on the Japanese internet was like, does this mean he had like a stroke or something? Everybody was like, bro, this ain't looking good, guys. Was the general feeling. Don't even say it. Miura was way too much already. It just shows that you should just finish your series at like 30 volumes and not try and, you know, do a 150 volume series. You should just try and end it quickly so you can take a fucking break and not die. It's like when Trump didn't appear for like 3 days. Well, A, I think that actually was Trump having a mini stroke, and B, a mangaka failing to make deadline is just like considered a massive big problem, unlike Trump disappearing so he can play golf or something. So it's not something that Oda would do normally, which means it might be something bad. Who knows? A series should never last more than 20 years. It shouldn't even last more than like 10 years. 10 years is already 40 volumes. Just a reminder that Hajime no Ippo is 142 fucking volumes of this goddamn boxing manga, dude. The main character has already retired and then come back and then like become a coach and won the world championship and lost the world championship and so on and so on and so on and so on. And it's still fucking going. And no one's even asking like, is he gonna be able to finish it, because nobody even cares, but it keeps on going. I respect Croc for finishing Kimetsu around 200 chapters. Kimetsu ended perfectly at the height of its popularity. And now she can live the rest of her life in opulent wealth and maybe have like a nice comfy short series if she wants one. And she actually like finished off all the plot lines. Crazy. And I'm sure the editors were like, no, please don't do it, please don't end it. But she was like, nah, I'm gonna take my money and leave. LMAO. Alright guys, I'm gonna end the stream here. I have to go piss. See you around, guys. Good night. I'll keep on drawing. Good night.